Who didn't have a clue what part numbers were or anything, so they called license to get their parts.
Oh, no kidding. So they drove out here to get their parts?
No, they're getting work done at the factory.
Oh.
CDI's painting it, and then Winnebago's putting in rollers for their slide. They
Oh.
bought it used down in Florida.
Yeah.
They gave up on their dealer out home.
Oh.
So that's good for us.
Yeah, it is.
Maybe they can't get employees to that dealer out there either. They're just talking.
Why would you go to work when you get that payment once every quarter?
And then the other thing they were mentioning is that there's no place here you can get a motorhome washed. So economic development, we need
Yeah.
to
Not
look
in
at
Forest
that.
City, there's one in Clear Lake.
Yeah, Clear Lake has.
So I gave them the number of Raul, the minister that does the detailing.
Yeah.
He's got a portable system. He can come wash it for him.
Oh, yeah.
Well, if they're paying enough, I can put my power washer on a trailer too.
I think I'd trust Raul before you.
There's entrepreneurialism at its finest right there.
You're trying to undercut people there, Bill.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like we're past 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Say the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll consider for approval the minutes and agenda.
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes and agenda.
I'll second it.
Get a motion from Smith and a second from Jensel to approve the minutes and agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, motion carries. Discussion with possible action regarding COVID-19 policies. Julie, are you on the
She's
phone?
not here
Oh,
today.
she's not?
No.
Okay. I was looking through and they put our county in one chart. They show us in the orange as substantial, but like there it says orange, which isn't the highest. But then I look at another on the 7-day curve, we're in the lowest category.
She said that we're at 10% infection rate.
Yeah, from the people being tested. I think that's what it is. So you got 100 people tested and 10 people are positive. It's a positivity rate or whatever.
Did you hear about the outbreak in Maryland? We have an outbreak of it in Maryland. 74% of the people that have come down with COVID have been fully vaccinated.
Have been fully.
Have been fully vaccinated.
Are they tracking which vaccine?
Yeah, I don't know. Something's not right.
But we all have our studies we look at and believe in. And I guess we'll just go with the flow. But we're in one of the lowest areas right now on the trending part of it. Where Mitchell County is lower than us at 0.
Worth has always really been good, hasn't
But
it?
they're 8% now. We were 2 or 4 or something.
Oh,
like
they
that.
are.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll stay that way. I don't know that we have to make any changes right now, do we? All right, keep it as is. 9 a.m. Mike is it Mortison? No.
Good morning.
Oh, there we are. Is it Mortison?
It's Mortensen.
Mortensen, okay.
Good Danish name.
All right. All right, well, welcome.
Good morning. Thank you very much for having the opportunity to come before the board here and speak with you guys. My intent this morning is to give you as much information as I can, as well as answer any questions in regards to your Veterans Affairs Office for your county there in Winnebago.
All right. So as I understand it, there was something last year the legislature almost passed but didn't, that may be in the works this year.
Yeah, absolutely, and we can kind of get to that too. There's a ton of work when we look at Chapter 35, which covers the County Commission of Veterans Affairs and the modifications that have been worked on over the last few years legislatively to get up to speed to where things are operating now. To kind of give it a little bit of background, these offices were originally as a soldier and sailor relief offices, which were intended to provide financial assistance to veterans and surviving widows, as well as their dependent children. We have very much adapted to the times, as well as moved forward with how these offices operate. And we don't necessarily have that same mirrored image through the code, and so that's where we're working legislatively wise to get that to go through. We have definitely moved past that relief mentality throughout the state of Iowa, and are really focused on bringing in federal benefits, which are already set aside and entitled through the federal government to our servicemen and women, rather than relying on counties to subsidize financial needs. And so a lot of the code that's on that doesn't really mirror up to what the current position is right now. So yes, there was some legislation that we tried to push last year. Actually, the last 2 years, COVID kind of put a bump in the road the first time around. And then this last year, we made it through the House and the Senate. And unfortunately, it got held up in appropriations at the last minute on things. But definitely looking at increasing state allocation money to each county to help better serve the veterans of each population. And we got very, very close to getting that to go through, and hopefully going to have some luck this next year as well.
That appropriation, we get money right now, correct, from the state?
That's correct. Yep, every county gets $10,000 right now is what the allocation is. We were asking for an increase to $13,000, and that still is in place. That allocation will come in this year as well.
Okay. You know, it seems like a drop in the bucket for what that position provides. You know, it's not so much just for the position, but for what that money can do.
Yeah, you're exactly right, and I wanted to bring some numbers to the board as well for you guys just to kind of understand. The last report that I was able to pull from the Department of Veterans Affairs indicates you guys are roughly about 700 veteran population. With that 700 population, you know, this is really fantastic, really, for your county. That last report shows a veterans benefits, federal benefits. These aren't state, these aren't county benefits, but federal benefits being paid to the veterans in your county, $4,794,000, and that's only increasing as well. And so what we're seeing, we've actually seen an increase over the last year with your county for benefits being paid. What we've seen statewide this year, where we're at about a 50% turnover in the last 2 years here in the state of Iowa, because the requirements of this job are so much more than, again, financial relief. That number that I just gave, that almost $4.8 million, is really what we're talking about. Is we're getting individuals who are trained, who are educated, and have the willingness and the drive to make sure we're fulfilling the promise that Lincoln gave, and that was to take care of our veterans, our widows, and the dependents. And so what we're seeing is really counties stepping up and saying, we're going to make an investment into our Veterans Affairs office, not necessarily look at it as, you know, hey, can we do the minimum hours with minimum benefits? It's really looking at it as an investment. What can we bring in? Who can we bring in to bring veterans into our community? And what comes with those veterans is those federal benefits that then go directly into your local economy as well. Also dragging in probably one of the best workforces that you can tap into, the United States military, getting those people into your community. Getting people who love what Winnebago County offers, that rural, that 3,500 square miles I saw of park and recreation. These are what draws veterans into your community, and with that comes a really nice financial boost to your community as well. And so we've had with these conversations with legislators. I think you guys are probably about my 15th or so board of supervisors I've gone through this year already. Really just trying to get that mentality changed. That we're no longer here just to hand out county dollars for financial aid. We're really here to make sure we're looking at the overall picture, getting veterans, widows, dependents linked in with those federal benefits that are already allocated to them. But in order to do that, you really have to have an educated person. You have to have somebody that's being allowed to have the time to look at legal paperwork, to look at medical documentation, to have the knowledge of social entities throughout the community, changing legislative rules, changes with the Board of Veterans Appeals. I could just go on and on for the requirements of this job now that we just cannot get at a minimum wage or at 20 hours per week. And what we're finding is veterans are now getting drawn to these counties and these communities that are able to provide that support. And so really counties like Winnebago right now are at that position, kind of a unique position where you're able to make a decision. Do we want to make this an investment into our community through our veterans, or do we want to stay status quo and see what happens with it? I think a lot of counties are going to be playing catch up here in the next few years. On a national level alone, there is national funding that is supposed to be coming. It has very good bipartisan support in D.C. It's called the CVSO Act, so direct funding to county veteran service officers. With that is going to mandate national training that's going to have to happen on a very regular basis. You're seeing through NAVSCO, which is the National Association of County Veteran Service Officers, already talking their internal legislatively of mandating at least 3-year training every 3 years with retesting. So we're just, talking a lot about quite a few different things here, but I'm just really trying to emphasize how much importance this job has turned into. And what we're really seeing is a good turnover in the state of counties that are saying, hey, we really need to invest in this office and really look at it through a different set of glasses.
So years ago, we had a really good person in here that was here. I don't know, how many years was Jack here? You remember?
10, 12, I would say at least 10, yeah.
Yeah, I remember him here many years. He did a great job, but I think the job might have been a little different then too. I mean, I don't think there was as much technical part of it and that to it. Jack was very good. He probably could have done all that, but I think when he retired, things started morphing a little bit to where there was more demand on the administrator.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And Jack's name, actually, he's a legend a little bit. There's still people that talk about Jack. So great things that he did, but you're absolutely right. Things have just morphed drastically. And if you look at it, just to give a little example that most people are aware with, we just now had 3 more changes with Vietnam veterans for Agent Orange exposure that somebody's really going to have to stay educated about. We're now dealing with one of our longest war periods in our history. Gulf War syndrome, dealing with the burn pits. All these types of things that really draw in the federal benefit side of it that they're already entitled to, but you really can't just have somebody that sits there and issues county, federal, or county funds for assistance and walks out the door at the end of the day. We're not doing anybody any justice. We're not serving them correctly if that's our mentality on it. But yeah, absolutely. If you go back 10, 15 years to where we're at now, we had plenty of county offices throughout the state of Iowa that weren't filing federal disability claims for these veterans, where now that is the #1 priority. And again, what we've seen is counties have actually been able to see a reduction in their expenses by getting somebody that's trained and getting those hours in, because you're actually drawing more revenue from those veterans coming into your community rather than just handing those funds out.
Well, I think my opinion is we need to invest in our veterans and our system and go with the times on, making it full time, but I don't know what you guys think.
I like the idea of investing in it as well. And then the discussion though, well, that's probably coming up, was sharing.
I think
But
we're
that's-
going backwards if we do that, because we're, 26 hours a week now? Is that right?
24, I thought, but 24, 26.
Then you're back to 20 hours a week if you're sharing.
She
and I-
said that ain't enough.
Yeah, that's what I understood from Jackie, was it's just not enough hours at that rate.
And if you can't keep a good person in the position,
Yeah,
it keeps turning over all the time.
and it's a challenging job market out there right now.
It is.
And if I may interject just a little bit to have this conversation on sharing counties, I've had the honor to serve as the president for the association now. I think I'm year number 5. I have yet to see a single time where sharing a county full-time works. You are going to be tapping into a county who has the same needs as what your county does. They need somebody there that's going to be able to give that undivided attention, and that's going to be able to serve those veterans of that population. It just is not a feasible if you want to do the right thing and invest in your county and to properly serve those veterans. I don't know of any clearer way to say that. Again, when we start talking about the duties of this job, the legal background, the medical background, the knowledge of social services, you really are tapping into a service that needs 40 hours or very close to it to be able to serve these veterans. One thing that I'd like to point out as well, too, when we're talking about hours for these offices, before I was blessed to come over to this position, I worked law enforcement for many years. And I can tell you there were many times that I sat waiting for a call to come across my radio. That doesn't mean I wasn't working. That means I was ready to serve when the call came in. Our veterans don't just need help Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. They might be in need of somebody to talk to on Mondays and Fridays as well. Really right now, if you want to get a hold of somebody at the VA, you can get put on hold for hours. You can be in the queue for a long time. You can get a call maybe 2 weeks later. How great would it be for Winnebago to say, you know what, our veterans have access to a listening ear, somebody who's compassionate, somebody who can understand Monday through Friday, and is able to serve those veterans or those widows or those dependents. I just talking about it, and I've been doing this for years, just gives me goosebumps to know that somebody is there to take care of our veterans when they need it. So I just wanted to point that out when we start talking about hours for the office.
I truly believe that when you only have somebody in here part-time, they don't have enough time to fully devote to learning their position. And when you have somebody who's in here only part-time and they don't have enough time to fully learn the position, you have veterans that are going to other places. So we have veterans in Winnebago County that are going to different counties to try to get their needs met when they should be able to get their needs met here in our county. And so we're doing a disservice to our veterans because they can't get their needs met here in our own county.
And I think Jackie was doing a good job with it. She was getting there, but she
Oh.
was green. I mean,
Yes,
she told me she was only 1/4 of the way there, knowing everything she needed to know, and then that always changes. Like you said, with the new things coming down on the Vietnam vets and things, you're always learning something new.
that was, I'm not saying anything bad about
Right?
Jackie.
No.
I'm just saying that there's not enough time in the day for
But-
her to meet
but
the veterans coming in and be
Yeah.
able to learn everything
But
that
at
she needs to
24
know.
hours a week, you're not able to accelerate your learning of the system. If you had a few more hours every week to absorb more of it, I think you could probably catch up faster that way. Is there a certain education or experience we would be looking for in a full-time person? I mean, is there something that fits good? What type of a degree, or is there minimum degrees required, or?
You know, that's a really great question, and probably one of the number ones I get when I talk to different boards and different commissions on this subject, because currently Iowa Code Chapter 35 does not dictate any requirements for the job, and again, that's something that we're looking at getting statewide amended so it really matches what we're doing now. Personally, if I was sitting in your guys' spot, the first phone call I'd be making is to see if there's any way I could get Jackie back. If you want to talk about somebody that mirrors the requirements that you really need, she's right up there hitting a lot of those check marks, okay? But looking outside, a few different things to keep in mind. A lot of counties say that they only want to hire a veteran for this position. I strongly encourage for board supervisors or commission to look at advertising to veterans and non-veterans. It opens up your pool to great candidates who may not have that military experience, but bring a great other piece of knowledge maybe to the table. But as far as the basic things that you're looking for a job description, you want somebody that's able to understand, if not have experience with medical background, mental health, be able to decipher legal decisions, court decisions, and really, again, have the ability to understand VA law, as well as be able to advocate on a social level for those veterans or those claimants. So to kind of round it up, you're really looking at somebody with a lot of social background, or somebody that's got some legal or medical background as well.
And somebody that could probably learn how to write grants.
You know, on that side of things, absolutely, grants are huge. I mean, they can definitely play a role, especially when you're dealing with a county that maybe doesn't have as much funding as larger ones, or who are still waiting for maybe state funds to be coming in. So yeah, that can be huge, and really be a very big benefit to the county. Absolutely.
because it's critical to know what they're looking like in the state grant that they can give out. It's critical to know what they're looking for in the terminology. I did
Right.
that with my father.
Yep, absolutely. You know, and one thing that I would recommend as well too, and I don't have the breakdown. I will get all 99 counties, but I don't have it in front of me right now. Those reports just hit this last month of how Winnebago spent their $10,000 in allocation. But one of the main priorities for that $10,000 allocation was to increase office hours to provide services more. And I don't know how much of that was allocated. If that's something that you guys would entertain using those funds a little bit more for. That could definitely increase the hours using state funds already. Just throwing that out there that those funds can be used alone. It cannot replace the current hours that you have in place, but they can increase it. So it can't supplant what was already set aside in that budget.
Does anybody know, or does he know the salary that most of these counties that have a full-time person and have those qualifications, what they get paid?
Do you have the median salary for some of these counties that are full-time?
Yeah, I can absolutely send that over to you. I don't have that directly in front of me, but I do have that actually. There was there's been quite a few different audits done throughout the state. We have these counties that aren't stepping up. I have one county who is paying minimum wage. Literally, their daughter is making more than what he is in the position right now. And I have some that are at six figures. It really all is going to, again, depend on veteran population, workload, housing in that area, all types of things. So there was an audit done throughout different states, similar dynamics, and I'd be more than happy to get that to the board.
I have the ISAC survey that I can print off for them.
That'd be great. Yeah, that's where I'm going to get a lot of that data as well. We are a part of ISAC as well, so.
All right, we'll utilize that. And I think we'd have to look locally too. We got to look at our job market and what people around here are doing similar things, or somewhat similar things as far as administration and things like that. We'd have to look at what the comparables are right in this local area.
I think the really nice thing too with the reporting process that's in place that we take a look at as well is that you guys will actually be able to see a monetarily difference in where you're currently at right now to where you may be in a year. And you're actually going to be able to see that on paper because I get the reports directly that's going to tell me what's coming directly into your county. So you're going to see that you're at $4.8 million right now coming in a year. When I look at other counties who have invested in full-time offices around your same population between 600 and 800, we're seeing closer to that 6 million mark. So you're looking, about 1.2 million more coming into your county. So, let's just say, and I'm throwing a number out there, I don't know what your guys' budget is or what it would be around there, but, for a salary for $40,000, $50,000 and your return on that investment then is 1.2 million coming back into your county, I would say that's pretty good return on funds. But again, with the reporting process that's in place, that is something that could be reported to you annually through the commission on what is now being generated in through that Veterans Affairs office. And you guys could review this in a year, in 2 years, and say, was this a good investment? Do we need to keep moving forward on this? And I think you're going to be pretty surprised at what an additional hours that 40-hour office is going to be able to bring into your county.
Yeah. Unfortunately, because of the quick turnover we've had recently, we haven't had any reporting because they don't stick around long enough to give us a full report. And that's nothing against them. It's just because of the turnover.
I did ask Jackie if we made her full-time and raised her salary, if she would stay. And she said we couldn't afford it because she was going to make double of what we were doing and work at home.
Right.
So
That's what she indicated to me too. That
Yeah.
Working from home was big for her.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I guess any more discussion on number 3 then? We can move on to number 4. Is there any action we want to take today? Do we want to make this a full-time position and look at a recommendation from is it your recommendation from the board that you would say it needs to go to full-time?
I would say so, based on what he's saying, what I've seen personally, because Jackie helped me, going back when I was in the service, in 69, 70, and 71. And she's got me on a track that I may be getting benefits for the first time. So, that's what it takes.
I know she was telling me that there was somebody, not even from our county, that came up from another county, that she got all the back pay
Yep.
lined up for. It was a lot of money.
Yeah, Jack Caputo did that several times. Yeah.
And so she did a good job there. So the potential is just enormous, I think. So, do we want to act on this today? So we
Well,
can start advertising?
I'm never one much for creating a public sector job, but also none of us would have any of the stuff we have if it weren't for our veterans, and I've always been shocked on how politicians of the past have let our veterans sway in the wind after their service. And I have, in order to get someone that has the skills to be able to do this job properly, you're not gonna do it paying, what did you say, somebody minimum wage?
17 or
Yeah.
18 bucks.
No, you're gonna have to have a comparable.
We're
wage.
talking someone that's gonna be, at 50,000 a year.
I think it can probably, I don't wanna tell you what to do, but, I think we're gonna have to budget for a certain amount after they're trained to a certain level.
Yeah.
But they can start down here when they get past these first, is there several layers to the certification?
There's initial accreditation training that's going to validate them to submit claims to the Department of Veterans Affairs. I will tell you, for this position, with everything that's included, you're looking at least 2 to 3 years before you have somebody that is fully up and running, in my opinion, that's going to be able to tackle a lot of this. I would say to you, if that is your recommendation, I think you would still have a hard time with retention because the amount of blood, sweat, and tears and the amount of lives you're going to impact alone in those first 1 to 2 years getting up and going is going to be significant. It's definitely one that takes some time, but it's rewarding and a lot of work along the way.
So we would probably have to, I don't know if we would, I don't know, how would we do this as far as salary? We'd have, because we're gonna have to amend the budget to accommodate salary, right?
I was trying to get up the budget, and I can't get it to come up on this computer, so
All right.
I'm gonna have to take a look at it.
Can we do it in stages where we start the process with making it full-time now, and then maybe next week look at what we're gonna budget for that while the advertising goes out possibly? Get that going?
I think that we would get more, more
Serious inquiries
if we had a
Number on there.
number on there. Maybe we could have a phone conference sometime this week to discuss it. Or maybe we can table it till later in the meeting, and I can have Chris run us some budgets or
that.
something.
You can get some numbers together and maybe give us, we don't have a long agenda here, but maybe towards the end of the agenda, we can readdress it. And
Is there a national place we can advertise? Because I've talked to a lot of people down at the park down by me when they're coming in from Winnebago, and they want to move to the Midwest and get out of Colorado and where the fires and all that stuff are. I mean, there's a lot of people seriously thinking about it. Is there a national trade magazine we can advertise
I
in?
do advertise on Indeed, which is all across, like I said, I got somebody from Virginia that applied. So I do advertise there. I did in the local papers. I do on on Facebook, I do on LinkedIn, and on our website.
Mike, you said there was a national organization. Is there some way to advertise there?
There is, if you go to NAVSCO, NACVSO, is their website as well as their contact information. You might be able to get it distributed out that way, but I can tell you, and I'm sorry, I'm not sure who's speaking in the background there, but the Indeed and all those other ones that reach nationwide really have some great impact. I will tell you, it's hard to be somebody from your community, though. I will tell you that. When they see that friendly face, they're going to get those contacts at the gas station, at the grocery store, in passing. It is really, really nice to have somebody that's local. Nothing wrong with bringing somebody in from the outside, but somebody from your community, taking care of your community, really speaks high volume of the board and of the commission.
Okay, good information. All right. Well, I think maybe we'll probably just table this for a few minutes here until we can get some numbers together, then we'll probably put something together.
I'll have Chris run budgets and get them in here to me, and we can talk about it in a little bit.
All right, so if you guys want to hang out for a little bit, we'll probably come back to it.
So I think one of the things that, we hadn't considered, or I hadn't considered thinking about it before, was that the benefits of new people, veterans coming in from somewhere else. And I like the idea of Winnebago County being a veteran-friendly county, that you can get help and that you have.
Now, we never passed the home base Iowa for Winnebago County, did we?
No, we did
Four
not.
cities passed it. They got
Actually, Winnebago County was approved under Home Base Iowa. In fact, the Iowa Association of County Veteran Service Officers, Home Base Iowa, and the Department of Veterans Affairs have just now kicked off here in the last few months a huge campaign and getting around to all the different counties. What's interesting when you bring up Winnebago County is you guys have no incentives for your county to draw veterans in, which you guys are really missing out on a great opportunity. We have some counties that are offering $5,000 in addition to the state grants for veterans to move into their, if they get employment within their county. There's things, there's other counties do some smaller things which are nice, free trash pickup. There's some counties that do things just as small as free pet licensing. All these types of things that are going to draw a veteran into your community. And again, that's when we go back to the investment side of it, dealing with Home Base Iowa and really getting some initiatives out there to get veterans into your community. You guys have some great workforce capabilities out there too. The businesses that you guys have that are going to draw in a great workforce. Again, probably one of the best ones you can tap into. They're coming out of military training. But there aren't any incentives directly from Winnebago County that were listed through Home Base Iowa. So again, another thing for the board to take a look at as part of that investment thought process on how we can get more veterans to your county, and then at the same time providing those services for them when they're there.
Okay, so a few years ago, I was on a committee with Fort City and Lake Mills and a bunch of them to create those incentives. And our board did put it in our budget to have $5,000 towards, I think, relocation expenses for veterans, just to get it started. But we hadn't been finalized with the state yet. And the state was so backlogged and in disarray that it went a couple of years where we never could get any information back from them. And so that year, that money from that budget got reallocated to another project that popped up that it was for the Fine Arts Center when we had to do a match for the CAT grant. We just moved it from one to the other. So it's not like we haven't funded it before, we just didn't have approval from the state to move forward. So now that we know we're approved, we can make those steps forward.
Yeah, and I can definitely get you guys in contact with Jathan, who is the director for the state there for the Home Base Iowa. I know he'd be more than willing to even come out and help work with you to get those incentives locked in or how to move forward with those. Does a great job. He very, very driven and is more than happy to help out.
That'd be great. We'll do that. So, all right. Carla, did you get something there?
Yeah, it looks like we just have 23,000 budgeted for salaries for this year, so, oh, jeez. We have
Oh, the poor thing.
20,000 left in our budget. And, We have
Good thing I didn't get it.
42,000 total budget, left in the
You have
VA.
to say that again, Carl, I missed that.
I might have been distracted.
So 23,000 you have in
Yeah,
salary.
we had 23,000 budgeted for total salaries, 20,700 left. 45,000 in the total budget with 42,000 left in the total budget. So not a huge budget,
Question,
yes.
can we justify for the time being to expand this budget? Can we justify through COVID some of this demand?
I wondered the same thing.
That's a very good question.
Has the
I would say we could
veterans affairs
probably,
workload gone up because of COVID?
I'm going to ISAC the end of the month, and I am spending a day in a
I think,
American Rescue Plan
I think
class.
that's gonna be
So
I mean,
that would be,
and it might be something Jackie can help us with too, some insider, I don't know, Mike, do you have anything on that?
On that, there's been some question on it. I have not got a definitive answer. I think it's a great question, maybe for the county attorney, or as well as reach through ISAC for that guidance. I definitely think if you could put up a good argument for it, that it would be feasible, but I don't have an official answer on that.
Well, the worst that can happen is we have to come up with the funds locally to backfill it. Yeah, I mean, we can probably do that. Be one way to give it our best shot to justify expanding this position, because there's language in there for extra workforce. So I would think.
Explain to me, it's not here in the courthouse,
It's in the corner of the public
Right.
health.
and what does that cost us to have it there?
nothing.
Nothing,
It's our building.
okay, so I just know that there's empty spaces in this building, is there?
Not a lot.
No, there's not empty
There's-
spaces in
Really?
There's room down in
Oh,
Sandy's
there's down in
office.
Sandy's,
A little bit, yeah.
yeah,
DHS rents that though, and
No, just the one corner.
I'm just looking for places to find,
they work very close together though, like,
Yeah.
I don't
It's-
think that
it's a
you'd
good
wanna
posi- it's a
move
good place
that.
And the access is so close at the door there, you can go right in
Yeah.
the door.
I'm not saying, I'm not saying that, I'm just brainstorming.
Here you
Okay.
have to find the office down in the basement through the elevator.
Yeah, your handicapped veterans would find that to be a pain in the butt, honestly.
Yeah.
This is so handy, like you said, you go in, you
They
go
know-
in, and you're right
If
there.
they know which door to go in down there, then they can get in the elevator
Yeah,
and
the
go down. But
elevator's
still,
right
over there, it makes a lot of sense in many different ways, so.
Yeah, I'm not saying that, I'm saying it's handy, it's just looking for more funds.
And I think, yeah,
And you said it doesn't cost us anything,
No,
Oh.
it's our building,
it's nothing part of your budget.
or yours, either
No.
one, right?
No, it's our
You
building.
have to heat the space no matter what. And
Yeah.
Kevin loves working down there to keep it up and going.
Mm-hmm.
Right, Kevin and Kevin?
I dozed off, Terry, what?
All right, so,
There's one county that only spends $800.
So we're gonna just move this to the bottom of the agenda and.
well, we're
have some
looking
more
at the numbers
discussion?
right now.
Yeah,
I think we're gonna have to adjust the budget, amend the budget, no matter what. But I think we can justify the input for, the income to it for right now through COVID.
well, in the $10,000 grant, if we only have $23,000 budgeted for salaries, we can use the $10,000 grant for $10,000 worth of salaries, right, Mike?
Yep, that's what he just said, is that
So,
right?
All of it or part of it?
We probably overtalked each other.
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
So the $10,000 money from the state, we can use at least part of it, or can you use all of it? Because we have to, have certain monies that's set aside for some mileages and stuff like that, don't we?
well, that's already.
Yeah, there is no mandatory breakdown on how that's spent as long as it's allocated according to the rules that it's set out for. So if you wanted to use all 10,000 of it for increased hours, you're more than able to do that. That really is up to the commission According to Chapter 35, the commission dictates how that 10,000 gets spent in coordination, obviously, with the Board of Supervisors. But that commission, if they wanted to extend those hours, they would, allocate those funds to it, and go to the board with that, kind of working hand in hand. But there is no mandatory breakdown that only a certain percentage can be used for this or that. You can allocate it however is needed for your community.
Even with that 10,000 going towards the salary, it's still not gonna cover the benefits, and we're gonna have to amend it. So, I feel confident that we can probably word our COVID monies well enough to supplement this anyway, at least, to extend some hours for this year and then budget for it next year. I don't know what you guys think.
Carla will know more after she goes to that meeting, hopefully, too.
I mean, when you got counties like Woodbury County putting $20 million towards a jail and justifying it with COVID, that's what they're using their first year monies for.
Really?
But, you think about it, if it doesn't pass the muster, they'll just put it on a TIF or something after that.
Yeah, they'll have to.
Backfill it with that, because they're borrowing the money no matter what.
I would assume they probably have a plan B in case it doesn't fly.
So it's just,
Looking at these numbers here on the full-time positions, it looks like we probably have to add at least 20,000 onto the current salary. Because most of the full-time positions are between 38, on counties that are, the bigger counties, of course, are even higher.
Yeah.
But the ones that look like they're similar in size to us are all in the 40 to 50 range.
yeah,
Or 38 to 50.
I was thinking if we started in the mid-40s with benefits, plus benefits,
Yeah.
we would probably be in the neighborhood to at least draw some interest.
I would think so.
And then we put it in, maybe you guys would want to put it in there that there are incentives once you get past your initial accreditation.
Yeah, you'd have to.
You know, I know it's.
If you guys would like, I do have in front of me a spreadsheet of almost every county. If there's ones you wanted to check right now, I would be able to tell you what their salary is right now.
We have a sheet here too.
It's the ISAC sheet we're looking at.
ISAC. But, right now, well, this thing only has us down for 7,740.
Yeah, I saw that.
Part-time, 1,770 hourly.
So that might not be.
So
Might not
this
be.
sheet may not be perfect.
I wondered about that too, because I thought.
But, I'm just thinking about other positions with the responsibility similarities. I would think we'd have to start at least 45, wouldn't we?
If you're gonna do it, you're gonna have to do it where you're gonna attract someone who has, because people that have the skills that are needed for this job are in demand. And you gotta compete with the private sector. I mean, there's all kinds of places that can't find workers right now, especially your more skilled positions. And, I mean, if we're gonna do this, which, like I say, I don't get excited about adding more to the county budget or whatever, but I also,
But if it brings more funds into the
it does bring.
It won't bring funds into our part of it,
But
but
it-
it'll bring it into the community,
They'll be in the
Community,
community or
absolutely.
whatever. They'll
whether
be
it's sales taxes or
spending
whatever.
money here,
Yeah.
so.
And
I
not
would
just,
say that you would need to start, put a range of 45 to 55,000, depending on
Yeah,
qualifications.
if they have qualifications
If they're,
already.
if we're getting somebody that's
yeah,
already,
because then we won't
training.
need those 2 to 3 years of.
but I'm also one that, I'm a performance guy. The better you are, the better you get paid. And, I know that's old fashioned, but, I mean, you get someone that gets in here and they're really taking into the job, we've gotta be able to have, something set in stone where we can, I mean, if the guy's really, really good, you don't wanna lose him and
Well, he'll be coming up and actually getting the job done sooner.
Because, I mean, it might be a thing where, we hire them and say the 45, but they, once they've achieved a certain level, especially if you guys will be able to have the input on how well the new position is performing, and then we can increase it on that. And if the person doesn't pass your mustard, if they're not getting the things done that you think they should be, then they aren't gonna get it.
So 45,000 would be about, if you were at 40 hours a week, you would be at $21.63 an hour.
So is that for these guys to put together a proposal and then present it to us, and then we can look it over? I mean, is that where that should come from?
We do their budgeting, they make recommendations to our budgeting.
I was gonna just ask Mike, I'm Barney Reuter with the Mayor of Forest City here. And when we hired a police chief, and also a couple lieutenants, we had officers, chiefs come from Clear Lake and Mason City to sit in our interviews. Because let's face it, we're not professionals doing this. Do you know anybody that would offer to come up and help with those interviews?
Yeah, absolutely. We could support in any way. So, obviously, I serve as the president. I have a first and second vice president. We also have 6 different district presidents throughout the state. We are here about supporting and giving as much information as possible. But if that's something that the board or the commission would like, we'd be more than happy to help out with that.
Okay, thank you.
And so, with the 2 of you here, you already formed a quorum of your board. What's your opinions on the salary?
I think you gotta be in the ballpark, because we're still in North Iowa, and, you know, Iowa living is a lot cheaper than a lot of big cities is. But hopefully there's somebody that's retired like Jack Caputo that might be interested in it, and, you know, moving to the Midwest or whatever, or somebody local we don't even have a clue is out there.
You know, there's a possibility if we have a full-time position in Winnebago County in Iowa, there may be another county that's part-time that they're already accredited that might want to move
Come
here
Yep.
to take that position. And you'd have to look at starting higher than 45 right away.
Well, it's just gonna open up the opportunity that we haven't had. I mean, we know what ain't working, so we gotta try to get this to work.
Yeah, and the money you're talking, then there's bennies on top of that, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It's about, what, 15,000 for benefits we cost us,
12.
or 12 now?
So if you start at 45 and went to 15, so
We have to
pulling in
budget.
60 grand.
We have to budget.
Well, for the
And the bennies are an important item. I mean,
Yes.
you gotta,
And I would say we have pretty good benefits here. That's the other question. Is this gonna be a 40-hour-a-week job, or is this gonna be a 37 and a half, like some of the other positions in the county?
well,
What's public health? Are they 40? I would assume it would be whatever public health is.
Okay. Well, it's probably up to them to decide how many hours they want the person to put in.
well, we really don't know how many hours it would take. Jackie would just say it's taking more hours than what you're allocating me, and she would donate, if I understood her correctly, an hour or 2 here and there, just to get something completed rather than stop right
So like
here.
in
She'd
the
do that.
courthouse here, you guys work from, well, it kind of varies. But for the most part, it's 8 to 4:30 with an hour lunch, so you have 7.5-hour days. And, you know, that would give an hour for lunch to do what they need to do. You could start at that, and if they wanted to make more money, that could be part of their increase, is to go to 40, if there was that much demand for the services.
I got one question on a statement Sue made was, in relationship to what Mike said, the hours it's gonna take 2 to 3 years to get full accreditation. They might be qualified for the job, but they're still, you know, these courses are taking extra time.
Right.
And with COVID, Jackie couldn't go to the meeting, so she'd have to do it online. That was taking longer. So I don't know if we can expect the person to be totally qualified, because there's computer programs they gotta have accreditation to get into that is necessary for them to do the job, so.
Right.
And to provide clarification to the board, they will have accreditation within the first 12 months of employment. The continuing education, there is a set amount of continued education hours, CEUs, that have to be reported every year. And so once they get that initial accreditation, you're looking at yearly CEUs that we as an association provide that through the state. And then again, the National Association is looking at probably every 3 years receiving continued education on the national level.
And that's usually in person?
Correct, and that travels. This last one was in D.C. We're looking anywhere from D.C. to California, Wisconsin. It really does. Ohio here a couple years ago. So just wherever that national convention is held, that is an in-person. I strongly recommend that's an annual that you send your service offs to. You're getting direct communication with the Department of Veterans Affairs, veterans judges, those types of things. But just like any service organization like the American Legion or the DAV, those types of organizations, they have mandatory training. The National Association for Counties is going to mandate that as well.
Is that budgeted through us to travel and stuff for the accreditation and the CEUs, or is that through granting?
So really what we're seeing is a mandate before funding, and that's the reason why I kind of talked earlier about that CVSO Act that's coming out of D.C. For the federal funding of that, and why we have our state initiatives to push for state funding as well. Like about anything, we get the mandate and then we ask for the funding of it, right? But really, it's that concept that I was touching on earlier of as a community, what do you want to invest at this point? And then hopefully everybody else realizes the importance too and helps supplement that.
Cindy went to San Francisco, wasn't it? We paid that.
Well, I know we've had several go all over the country. I know Thomas went to California and
Cindy
other
did
places.
too.
Yeah.
Denny's there, but somewhere, I don't remember where.
Yeah.
Did that come out of that $10,000?
Yeah.
So,
And you are able to use that allocation money to pay for that training.
right,
That's an allowed expense as well.
but it's still part of the budget we got to account for. So,
What I encourage every county to do is not anticipate any allocation money. That is something that we have to go fight for every year. And so when you're planning your budget, I encourage boards and commissions to put zero down and then allow that commission to work with the Board of Supervisors on how that $10,000 gets allocated. That's not a guaranteed $10,000 every year. We've had it cut before. Here about 3 years ago, I want to say we got a little bit of a deduction in that as well. And so without it ever being a guarantee from the state, I really do encourage that that's marked down as zero for planning purposes, and then be able to add some extra things into it. So again, our hope is this next legislative session that we actually get a bump to that and we can get it locked in for a few years.
so this 10,000 that comes in from the state, is this upon expenses, or is it just comes to us to be used?
There's actually a change this year. When that $10,000 gets allocated, it's going to go directly to the commission now instead of the auditor. And a lot of that goes back to that conversation I was just having, to where you have a lot of counties that kind of got caught using it to supplant their budget replace funds that should have already been there. And by Iowa code, it really is up to the commission to dictate how that $10,000 is spent. I encourage a strong relationship with the Board of Supervisors and the auditor, but it really comes down to that commission on how they want to allocate that. And so that's really how that's going. It really comes down every year to the state's budget, if they're able to. The code reads that if the funds are available, they may allocate those funds, but it is not set from year to year.
So we'll be counting on you guys to determine that then.
Correct.
All right. Well, are we ready to do some action on this then? Are we gonna look at 45 to 55,000 depending on experience and accreditation? On a full-time position with benefits, start at 37.5 hours a week.
Yeah.
Is that what you guys are thinking is the best case scenario?
It is 37.5 hours, is that what the nurses were?
I don't know.
We should have them match whatever their
Yeah, I
hours
think we
are.
need a- I
Right
think
now,
we
it
need a
doesn't
little
match
more.
the nurses.
Well,
Oh,
no,
no.
but if we're gonna go to the full-time.
I'm just looking at an expansion in the future. If they want to, if it takes more time than that, then we can increase it according to the extra hours
You have
too.
your handbook right in front of you, right?
No,
I have it here.
I feel like maybe we need a little more information.
Well, nurse's thing will be right here somewhere. Okay.
Who's the third person on your board?
Dave Peterson, former sheriff.
Have you met him?
Nope, another guy.
I meet him on the road every day,
Yeah,
when he's working.
delivered motorhomes,
Oh, really?
Tries to pass me all the time,
back and forth from Lake Mills.
Oh,
the little vans.
the little van.
Okay, what section would that be in? Or you wanna just get it?
Yeah.
40 hours.
It is 40 in the
Yep.
public health.
That's what I was thinking.
Okay. Well, is that your wishes then, to start at 45 to 55, 40 hours a week? And put out the advertisement reflecting that?
I don't have a problem with that.
You guys
As
okay
long
with
as
that?
that it's reviewed every 6 months or every year so that we know that it's accomplishing what it's supposed to accomplish.
So more than likely, this person won't be accredited within our fiscal budget year. Here we are, August,
Yeah.
middle of August, and they probably won't be accredited by July 1 of next year. Would you say, Mike?
I can actually take a look right now, if you'll bear with me just for a second. I can look and see what they have for the future accreditation training.
So is
And I
the
believe they are going to have a virtual option as well too, so that may be something.
cost effective?
Yeah. So there is one that's actually here fairly soon. August 23rd, looks like there is going to be an online one as well.
That won't
So
work.
there are going to be some things here soon that are going to be coming.
That one.
But again, if it was me sitting on that board of that commission, if you guys are going to make these types of changes, I would certainly reach out back to Jackie. I really think if you guys were to offer that, it'd be hard to walk away. I think this is kind of answering the things that weren't there, and you guys would really be missing out on somebody that's really done an amazing job over there. And we've seen some great improvement in your guys' county. I always tell people the key to knowing that you're a good service officer is when you have residents of other counties coming to see you, then you know you're doing the right thing. And I can see those reports as well. And there's been a drastic increase coming into Winnebago County over the last year.
And there's been some turnover in the other counties, and I think that's part of why we're seeing more increase here, because she knows what she was very good at what she was doing.
Absolutely, absolutely. And people talk. And when veterans are getting taken care of, they talk and they say, hey, Jackie's doing a great job in Winnebago. She got me taken care of. She got benefits to me. Sometimes that's the only person that's helped them out since they got out of Vietnam in 1968, right? And so they talk, and people are going to come and see your county, which is a great thing.
So if we set the salary from 45 to 55, and by chance we can talk her back in, then the commission can make that determination what she would make out of that.
Where it would be as far as her, is she fully credited yet?
She's got the first, just the first part,
Just the
So,
first one.
so yeah.
so she can
And it
file.
is completely, according to code, it is completely up to the commission to appoint that position with the approval of the Board of Supervisors.
And if we're going to amend the budget, it'd be nice to amend it, after we know who they're hiring. So,
Sounds good. I'll see if I can twist her arm.
all right.
Yeah.
So I guess if you're comfortable with those things, I'll either entertain a motion or make it myself.
Well, you're the one that's got the dad as a veteran, you make that.
Is that a conflict of interest? I don't look at it as a conflict of interest.
No.
I'll make a motion to create a full-time position rather than part-time position at the Is it a VA administrator, we call it?
Veteran Service Officer.
Veteran Service Officer, make it full-time, 40 hours, with a salary range from 45 to 55, depending on their experience and accreditations.
I'll second it.
Sound correct then? We didn't miss anything? And it'll include benefits.
40 hours a week.
Then they will follow the policy book as we have already in there. Unless you guys want to change something in there. It's up to you. All right, any further discussion on this? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming in. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much for the time, and if we can be of any further assistance, please reach out, and I will also get back with the board to get you contact with that Home Base Iowa for you guys to move forward with those initiatives as well.
Yeah, I think it's time.
Thanks, Mike.
Perfect, thank you so much.
Thank you. Yep, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Well, that was an hour well worth spent.
Yeah, really amazing, yeah. Yep, yeah. And he knows Jackie, so that's really good.
Yeah, there you go. Is that gonna do you any good that he knows her,
Well,
to get her to, cause you made it sound like she's pretty adamant, she's happy where she's gonna go. but
Is there
I guess all
any
we
way
can do is
that-
Try.
we just talked about raises, we didn't talk about.
A full-time position.
Barney, do you think there's any possibility that if she wanted to work part-time from home, where part of her the extended hours are from home, where she answers the phone and she can go down to the office, but she can work from home?
Yeah, we can look at that.
Yeah.
I mean, the first thing she's either gonna say yes or no, so.
Maybe, it could be you offer her that she could have,
Yeah.
if she wants it,
Whatever.
you could offer her the current office hours or other office hours to
Right,
include that.
Yep.
And then the extended ones would be from home.
right.
She's got kids at home, is that it, or they're working at?
Well, yeah, she does, and one's gonna be going to college pretty soon, I know that.
All right, so, but they're all old enough that they don't need babysitters, or
I don't know that.
if she bypasses some daycare, or is she just like being in her house, there is a
She
difference.
does,
You can't even talk about that.
no,
No, I'm just trying to understand it.
her history of experience came in the grant writing. She writes grants for, public health.
Yep.
She's very good at what she does.
Well, we'll get with her, get back to you, and thank you very much. Happy to.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
So we'll still be posting it.
Yeah,
We have to post it.
Yeah, we have to post it either way, so.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Let's see, number 5. A track record per number is not going.
Could I lobby you to approve my plans, or otherwise I'll sit patiently?
Probably just keep on track
All
here.
right.
Discussion with possible action, maintenance position. Kevin, what do you have for us?
Carla put this on, I guess we didn't really talk about, we talked a while back. In a perfect world, I'm planning on retiring towards the end of this year. I did have a medical issue pop up, but I won't know any more about that until middle of September, which, in a perfect world, I would be done December 31st, and then using up vacation sometime in November till the end of the year. If I have to have a surgery or something, that I will probably stay on a little longer, just by that virtue. But what we had discussed, if they want, hiring is such a challenge right now. It's incredibly difficult.
That's why I put it on the agenda now, is because I am worried about getting somebody in to replace, and I think that I need to get started as soon as possible.
What I would suggest point blank is that K2 has been learning to do claims, learning to deal with contractors, learning time cards, stepping in when I've been gone. And what I would suggest, and I've got no dog in this fight, is that they would be the natural choice to step into my position and then to get a number 2 hired for him to decide on a starting wage. I mean, Bago has gone up to 17.5 plus a signing bonus. I don't know where you wanna start. I don't know what it's gonna take to get a quality person that you say, yeah, I trust this person to have the keys and access to the mountains of personal information that is in this building. I can't stress enough that you gotta have somebody that you trust beyond all reason.
You have to, I mean, if you can get a job at Winnebago, it doesn't require as much, probably as much knowledge. Some of the jobs there do.
Sure.
But, if they're starting at 17 an hour, I would think we.
17 and a half.
17 and a half, I mean, we're gonna fully have to compete with that.
Yeah.
Well, the
where's
last
sign?
sign I saw outside of town said 18 and a half.
They might have jumped it for all I know.
Well, yeah, the only ones I've seen are 17 and a half.
Oh, maybe it was.
I don't know. And then there is a signing bonus that goes with that,
Yeah,
$1,000.
plus $1,000 sign.
500 after so long and another 500.
I don't know if we can do that.
But what Carl and I had discussed is that advertising the position and advertising is open until filled or something. Because I personally think, without really knowing what's out there, I think it's gonna take a while to get somebody in here.
What's K2 making an hour?
18, yeah, I think that's right. And that's probably,
You started at like 16, wasn't it? Was it 15? Yeah, see, the world's changed.
So we'd probably have a 6-month probationary period
for this job, I would suggest a 12-month probationary period so that you go through the complete cycle of snow and that, because summer is way different than when December rolls around and you're getting that mess. So for this job, I think the handbook maybe mentioned 6 months, but I would for this job, I would say 12.
Because you can't tell whether they really have the skills for the whole job until
What
they've
skills
done
are there?
all of it.
Do I want to do it? You
That's
know,
what
you can say, I'll roll out at 3 in the morning and to move snow, but when you actually do it, that's,
and this would start full-time,
excuse me?
start full-time?
Yeah.
Yes,
Because he started part-time and worked into full-time.
correct.
But we also had another person here at that
Right,
time.
we had 3.
Yeah.
And then we also added on the public safety center out there in that period of time too.
Yeah, we've got 6 properties that we go to now for snow, and then mowing at 5 of them. Plus upkeep inside, so.
So when will you know when and if your actual end date is?
I'll have a better idea the middle of September, that's when my next appointment
But
is.
it's not gonna vary that much, is it? You're only talking another month or so, or,
Well, no, he might stay on for,
yeah, you don't know. That's
I
what-
could
that's
see
what-
going into the January, February, March quarter.
Okay.
You know, if I need further attention,
Right,
how quick can it get scheduled and all that is.
Yeah.
I'll know more after my September
but
appointment.
you're not talking years or anything.
No.
Either way, I want to get somebody in here.
Yeah.
Get somebody training, get somebody working. And
No,
As
it would be
much-
nice to have them here while there are both of them here.
yeah, and as much as it's been hard to find people that, I don't know, if we find somebody first time, great, but if we don't find somebody, I'm nervous. So I want to get going.
And in the winter time, for one person to try and do it, it ain't gonna happen, you're just not gonna do it. Because, yeah, you move the snow, the road crew's done moving snow, we've got 2 more weeks of slop coming into buildings that has to be cleaned up daily in every building and that type of thing, so doing it by yourself just isn't an option. Not a good option, let me say it that way.
So would we call this position temporary position that we're adding to your budget, or are we looking at, it'll be,
There is a little bit of wiggle room in my budget. I do have a line in there for part-time help,
okay,
which could be used, I assume, without any problems
okay,
for a full-time position. I want to say it's around 16 or 17,000.
that'll cover the benefits then,
Well, we have benefits budgeted too.
Oh.
We have,
for the part-time?
yes, we have some money budgeted for.
So there's a little bit of room there as long as my thing doesn't drag out, which I don't anticipate that at all. It's
So
not a
we
major
could know
concern.
by March or so how we're doing in the budget, then determine if we have to amend it or not.
Mhm.
All right.
So to the point, where you want to go for a starting wage to advertise, to try to get people in. I don't even have a ballpark. The lengths businesses are going to get employees, it's crazy. It is just crazy. It's the times we live in.
So, I'm trying to figure out if we hire this position this year, but you're talking a 12 months probationary period
Mhm.
before we make them permanent, correct?
Well, they would just be on probation, just
Right? So they
without
wouldn't
no,
qualify for a raise until after that 12 months.
yeah, however you want to set that up, that would be up to you.
So from the start of the fiscal year next year until that 12 months is up, they would still be making the same amount for part of that fiscal year. Unless you want to do a two-stage probationary.
To my way of thinking, I would say a bump after 6 months and then after 12.
That's what I was thinking.
I think that makes the most sense. It gives a little bit of a goal.
But would you call it, well, it's probationary and your full probation is a year, but you could make extra after 6 months and then,
I could write that up in a letter when we get to that point.
okay.
Yeah.
It would be nice to have somebody with him still here and just kind of
Yeah.
laying out, here's the job duties. And
Well, are we ready to act on this or do we want to put some numbers or some information together on this before we actually act?
I think we need some numbers. I mean, aren't you talking, you're
Or at
talking
least
like
some
between
wording.
36.
I don't even know if I don't even know this position, if I want to advertise it first with the salary in there. I think maybe let's advertise it once without, just see where it would go. And if,
Because you'd have to put such a range in there. I mean, it would be 36 to 38,000. That's not gonna draw.
I don't know. I think let's just see what since we're doing this early enough, let's just do it without a salary range. And then if we see what we get, and then if we need to advertise it again, we can maybe put more details in that.
Have you done that
And
before? Does that work? Do people,
That's what I,
Well, times
last
have changed
time.
too.
yes?
that's how I got him.
Got real lucky, I'd say.
Yeah.
But I think,
I was buying my kids donuts and I picked up the paper.
Oh, oh, look at there.
Well, Eric, I know Eric knew.
I think you'll get better candidates posting a salary myself, I'll just say that.
What you've been deciding through since, I hope those numbers were good.
You are saying what?
Post the wage range. Post it.
so when you say range, what are you looking at? What are you looking for in the top end of the range?
Well, I can tell you the bottom end of the range, I would certainly match what Bago's.
Right, right.
Bago's
But I'm
a
saying,
40-hour week.
what qualifications would you pay more for, or you just want the ability, in case there's not much interest, we have to go to the top end?
Bago's at a 40-hour week for the year would be 36,400.
As far as qualifications, somebody mechanically inclined is obviously better.
You have to be versatile on your abilities, I think.
Extremely.
You gotta be the jack of all trades and the master of some.
Well, exactly, and there's a lot of stuff that K2 will be taking over. There's inspections at the jail to keep them open. We're trying to get that organized to push that back over onto the jail administrator. And Steve is receptive to this. We haven't done it yet. But it is stuff we've kept track of, which is maybe not the best way to go about it to keep the jail open, because I don't know jail regulations, which change all the time. We almost got bit once. K2 took care of that. He got an inspection done. I had the inspection scheduled. It was about 8 days too late. And the jail inspector got a little chippy with us, and he took care of it. And it's that type of thing. So you want someone that if he goes on vacation, that type of thing pops up.
He has to have some critical thinking skills.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct, absolutely.
That department has to have continuity.
So it's, yeah, where you wanna go for the top, I'm not gonna give you a number, cause I don't know. I don't know what it's gonna take, I really don't.
At 18.37 an hour, it's 38.
What do the full-time maintenance people make it like at the school? You have any idea that your husband still worked there part-time?
Yeah, Jason's not enough,
So,
way less than him.
you guys 40
So-
hours?
Yeah, but he's
We're
on
40
part-time,
hours.
isn't he? Or is
Yeah,
that-
I am more or less in the middle for counties my size, if you look at the ISAC list, I'm right around everybody else.
So $19 an hour is 39,520.
Mhm.
You know,
I think it has to be between 36 and 40.
What'd you say, 18 was, I'd say it's gonna have to be a minimum of 18.
Yeah.
When I post a range, I post whatever rock bottom you would actually pay, and then the very top you would actually pay, so you don't have to narrow it down so tight, but gives the person applying for the job a reasonable expectation without having to ask that question in an interview, which is very awkward.
Must have pushed something.
And there will be a range of qualifications and abilities and in there.
buildings and grounds, let's see.
Yeah, and $18 an hour is 37,440. So would we just go, what'd you say the 38, or the 1837 was?
38,209.
So if we started at 38 to 40,
That's what
I think
my
that'd be
suggestion.
extremely reasonable.
it might pique some good interest.
Yeah, without looking at what number twos are getting paid other places, I would think that would be a reasonable place to
So
start.
possibly starting lower than him, but I'd hate to start somebody higher than what he's
Absolutely.
making.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the way it
it's-
goes. That's what Winnebago ended up doing. They started paying their starting salary higher than the people that were working there.
Well, it's created some friction out there, but for the most part, I think people understand these are extraordinary times. I mean, I don't know if I've ever been through something like it is right now.
Well, I would have confidence in K2 to take over the position. I don't know what you guys feel like, but
Absolutely.
Oh, I don't think so.
But no vacations anymore.
but you're just one vote though.
Well, am I gonna get outvoted again?
But anyway, I think, so at least he knows when there's a retirement that he moves up.
Hmm.
So that's not gonna be much of a problem if the person does start higher than you. They'll
I
move you
can
along.
tell by the way the two get along that he obviously has the skills to be able to handle those issues.
And he makes an awesome guitar.
Yeah, he does.
All right, so,
You're anxious to post it, Carla.
I am, I mean, and
Do you
can
have
wait.
an argument again for, not putting a salary in there?
I'm good with it.
Yeah, if I look at a job, just when I'm looking through there, just to look at them, the ones I see that don't have a salary on them, I just think, why would you even think about it?
same with buying a car. If there's not a price.
Yeah, if they ain't gonna put a price on there, I don't trust you.
Yeah. So is 38 to 40 the range we're looking at then?
I would maybe go 41,600, because that would be $20 an hour.
Okay.
Any knucklehead like me can, well, even the guys without CDLs can get jobs driving for $20 an hour, driving semis in the fall for farmers, and it's
And they can still do that just in the evening.
mhm. Yeah,
So next question is, what's K2 gonna be making when you retire then?
I think we can look at that at budget time.
But there's gonna be a transition, he's gonna be bumped up during this fiscal year. Would have to look, I don't know whether that'd be a recommendation from you or,
I think.
The recommendation I would make, on that is that he steps into my spot at the salary I'm making and goes from there, unless you need to increase it, because this is starting out much more. That would be the only thing I would say.
and where are you at now?
Oh, and you're gonna ask me, I can't tell you, I don't know, off the top of my head.
I can't tell you either right now because I can't get into my program. And I don't have an IT guy right now, so.
Well, if he's gonna assume your responsibilities, he would, in my mind, he would assume your salary, so.
Yeah, at the minimum, absolutely,
When we
because it's the
set-
same amount of headaches.
When we set your salary, wages were here. They've gone up.
Yeah.
A little bit.
So, okay, well, that gives us an idea of what we're looking at then. All right, so are we ready to action on this then?
Yes.
Let's see, I'll make a motion that we advertise for a new maintenance position. Is that
It'd be a transitional maintenance
a
position.
transitional maintenance position, with a 6-year and a 1-year
6
review
months.
or bump or?
6 months and 1 year.
Or 6, yeah. Did I say 6 years? 6 months. All right, well,
So can we,
these motions are complicated. I
They
should have
are.
left it to the professionals.
can we put the range from 36,400 to your 41?
Yes, and that's, I was gonna include that.
That was 36,440 if you want an even.
Thank you.
An even
I need all the
18
help
would
I
have
can
been
get.
36,440.
Right. Okay. I'm gonna second that, whatever he said.
You wanna read that back?
I don't know, I'm so confused. So, you wanna create a position,
Transitional maintenance position,
a review at 6 months, 1 year review, 36,440 to 41600. And then Susan, did you second that?
I did.
Okay.
So it's possible permanent after 12 months.
Mhm. Okay.
I don't know that we have to call it transitional, but it's a
yeah,
maintenance position that,
yeah.
That has a review.
right. Okay, we got that down then? All right, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen.
You're missing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's go to number 7. Scott Miners, you want to do 8 first, or you want
No, either way is fine.
the engineer will discuss secondary road matters?
One thing I can tell you, we have Reading gravel and excavating moving in to crush our asphalt millings at Sunnyside at the end of this week. About 13,000 ton in the pile there, so that's a pretty big contract with them, and we're gonna have a good pile of millings to try some things with. Most urgently, we will be doing about 28 miles of edge rut repair throughout the county. So we think that's gonna be the best use of that material. And for $4.50 a ton, that beats paying $8.10 and hauling it here from Fertile.
So what size will that be then?
It'll be, I think it's 1.5 minus is what they set their crusher up to.
And that'll work on edge rut then?
That's what we think.
Gonna try it.
I mean, normally we would use 3/4 gravel or 1 inch, or 3/4 or 1 inch roadstone, so.
Will that lay out nice then on the edge?
We think that if the edge rut is deep enough, it'll lay in there real nice and roll together very tightly.
1.5 chunks, that's pretty big.
It is pretty big, but it also will have a lot of fines in it just by the nature of asphalt. Material goes in at 3/4 minus.
Oh, this
so
is
I'm just-
asphalt. Oh,
asphalt,
I was thinking concrete, all right.
Ground asphalt.
asphalt.
That will break down faster, won't it?
It ought to.
Yeah.
Even the 1.5 pieces won't be rocks. They'll be pieces of rocks
Bonded rocks,
glued
yeah.
together, you know.
Good.
So,
You get somebody go off on the shoulder in front of you with a truck or whatever, and 1.5 pieces coming at you are no fun. hopefully that doesn't happen.
So Reading, is they from Forest City here, or that's somewhere else?
They're from Algona.
Elkona. Well, it's Reading that's up here, the sandblasting place. Okay. All right.
I think that's all we got for updates. Pretty typical week here of odds and ends and maintenance.
See, some of your roads must have got enough moisture to blade now.
We got quite a wide range of rain, so.
Yeah, I don't think there was anything over towards Lake Mills, was there?
No, there was a little bit going on over
Well,
there.
I
Oh,
went
you
out
mean
to,
rain
I
or
went out to the recycling place east of Lake Mills there, and it was dry there yesterday morning, so they
Yeah.
didn't get
Really
anything.
spotty.
I heard up to 1.1 in the county, and then
Really?
I had 3/10, so.
Yeah.
I had 2/10 and hardly a tenth in Thompson.
Well, I would say Buffalo Center was closer to the inch,
Wow.
because we're.
Yeah, you did get a couple of bands coming through there. It kind of disappeared when it got towards
I
us.
bought a new rain gauge to put up, but I haven't put it up yet.
I've got 3 of them, they don't agree.
I guess I could mention too that we got our paint shipment today and yesterday, so they'll be painting, I think next week is what they'll plan on doing. So they'll be repainting lines throughout the county. Something you probably will notice, if it's bright, don't drive on it, but you should be able to see the signs and flashing lights
What's
as
the
well.
setup?
You
What's
got
the
those
setup
ones,
time?
Oh, half an hour maybe, or so. We have a trailing truck with a light on it, but you have to read the signs in order to know what's going on, or have a basic understanding of paint, and we don't always see that among drivers specifically
well,
if they're not.
you know,
familiar here.
that requires quite a little time looking up from your phone to read the signs.
Yeah. So we have a couple of cases every year where somebody gets paint on their car or something. It's unfortunate, but it happens.
Well, you just write their name on it.
Yeah, I won't say anymore. But, and you're gonna paint the roads that you did the super P-rocking on or whatever too?
Yeah, the chip seal roads, we'll paint those ourselves. They've been out there kind of getting some center line drawn and other markings on there to do that, so I'll be curious to see how that turns out.
It looks like it's getting pretty well packed in now, so.
Yeah, starting to get a little smoother.
Do you peel off those temporary ones first then?
I think we'll just leave them on there and let the plows take care of
I was
them.
gonna say,
Because they're underneath the chip seal
Yeah.
glued to the pavement, so probably just kind of rip off as we plow, I think.
We still haven't heard anything back from Alliant or?
I'm waiting on my last quote. So what we ended up getting quotes for, if you've been out there, you see we have about 120 little of tire depressions. Some of them are just wafer thin, and some of them actually have kind of fracture marks around them. So some of the worst ones, we quoted mill and fill patching, 3 of those patches. Some of the ones that are kind of medium, we're gonna infrared patch, which is kind of a seamless heat up and re-roll. And then the rest we're gonna fill with a mastic, kind of slurry product. So I got 3 quotes, I'm waiting for the 3rd. When I have that, I'll go back to Alliant and say, here's what we need to do to fix it. Can I get a commitment from you to pay for it? And then we'll try and get it done as soon as we can.
And so who's we, when you say we'll fix that, with what company? Or-
The infrared patching and the slurry is a Bargain Incorporated that do all of our crack sealing and some mastic work for us. And then Heartland would be the mill and fill, just asphalt contractor. So those 2 companies, 2 quotes from the one from the other. Should have that today, and then start that conversation that hopefully is civil and we can reach an agreement fairly readily.
It'll be interesting to see what that quote is.
It's really obvious when you drive that. I drive that road all the time,
Yes.
unfortunately.
And it'll be ugly even after we fix it, unfortunately.
Isn't that the
Yeah,
sad
it's
part
never,
too?
yeah, patches always show.
Yeah,
Anything else?
that's all I got.
You got anything for it?
sense.
All right, consider for approval plans and specifications for bridge replacement project number BRS swap County 95, 81, FF 95 on A42 east of 60th Avenue.
This is the bridge replacement project we've been talking about with a few different measures for amending the program, and this is slated for November letting, which most likely means we'll be on the docket for spring construction to replace that bridge with a box culvert. Plans take board approval before they can be submitted for letting.
So this will work into the Region 2 funding.
Yeah, this has SWAP funding, or Highway Bridge Program funding, which used to be federal aid, now is SWAP, state dollars for federal dollars, but they no longer go through the region. They're managed directly by the state, so
Okay.
a little bit of convenience and a little less paperwork and a little less everything.
I didn't realize the swap wasn't going through the region.
Quite smooth. The STBG swap still goes through the region.
Okay. So I'll entertain a motion from maybe somebody that represents that area.
I'll make a motion to approve plans and specifications for bridge replacement project number BRS-SWAP-CO95, parentheses, 81, FF 95 on 842 east of 60th Avenue.
Wonderful.
I'll second.
Had a motion from Jensel and a second from Smith to approve the plans and specs for the said bridge replacement. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, motion carries. Isn't it nice when you're making a motion, your phone buzzing?
Yeah. So what, was there some?
You know, and it's all those numbers you would never answer. I swear.
So what, there were significant changes?
From what to what?
I don't know, you said there was changes in that, I thought you said, some changes in specifications from before, no? Oh, I heard that incorrectly then.
Did I say that just now, you said?
Or area, the swap funds.
Oh, what changed is how the funding mechanism works. So Highway Bridge Program used to be federal aid dollars that the states would pass to the regions to pass to the counties. Now it's swapped federal for state dollars. So the state keeps the federal dollars and spends those federal dollars on their own projects.
On bigger projects.
And they take the state dollars, one for one match, and give it to the counties. So we kind of bypass a lot of organizational.
You don't have to have the Davis-Bacon wage thing or.
No, just state requirements. So we have a project file like this instead of like this, and it moves quickly. We can have an idea and then have plans in the letting in like 6 months as opposed to a year and a half. The project is cheaper because it doesn't have some federal requirements. It goes faster because it doesn't have some federal clearances. And we're doing the right thing. We're doing all the necessary things to protect the environment and, watch out for cultural resources and all those things that we would be otherwise. And, our local contractors, I'm sure that pay their employees a good wage anyway. So, we're doing all the right things.
And I think it keeps it more local too. Whereas otherwise you might be hiring a company from quite a ways away if it has to pay those.
Yeah, there's probably another measure yet to try and do better, but at least the last few have been Ragas Brothers from Lake Mills that have bid on our projects and gotten them. We had PCI one, a couple of years back. Some of the bonding requirements and stuff like that are still maybe a little bit burdensome that we wouldn't have if we bid it just right here in our building. But because of the funding, we don't have a choice. We have to bid it through the DOT. So some of our local contractors may not have, the bonding capacity or whatever to do it. That's a little bit unfortunate, but I don't know a way around that.
All right.
So this takes all three signatures by more of a historical effect, I guess. The minutes are sufficient, but it's nice to see the signatures of the board members on plans that are 70 years old, so.
It's pretty cool anyway.
All right. We're gonna move back to number 6, discussion with possible action, 2018 agreement with Homeward, and
She wants you to table that till next week.
because we have our meeting coming up.
Because she contacted a bunch of county attorneys and she didn't hear back from them and she wants to just wait one more week.
Okay, to see what it says on it,
What's that?
Not that bad.
to determine what the actual wording is gonna be.
Well, she's got wording and stuff. She just wants to make sure it's okay. So she just wants to table it one more week.
So it's just one set of signatures on this?
Just one set, yep.
Good. All right.
That might be Scott's pen.
Is this yours?
Yeah, I like a bold blue ink on my plans.
Sure. Okay, so table that. We have our annual meeting for Homeward coming up next week. Down to Chris. She's here.
Thanks, Scott.
Yep, thank you.
We're ready for you.
Remind me to tell you about Alliant after the meeting's over.
I'll be anxious to hear because I have stories too.
Open forum, I think.
Do you want, I forgot to put Eric's contract on the agenda. Do you want me to put it on next week or do you want to just sign it now?
When's the new guy starting?
Tomorrow. But Eric's gonna come in and help him a little bit.
Transitional.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's up to you. Do you want to sign it today or do you want me to just put it on the
We
agenda
already
next week?
approved some hours, didn't we?
Yes, he did, how many hours?
But we already approved a contract.
You
with
did a
him.
contract for July, we're just
Oh, it's
extending
just
it through
because of
August.
August.
Yeah, it's just an August contract.
Are you guys okay with it? We can sign it next week.
I'll just,
I can sign it now if you want, but it's up to you.
it doesn't matter, I
It's
can,
not on the agenda, so we can't act on it.
right, I can just put it on the agenda for next week. That's fine.
There you go. Hi, Chris.
Hi, how's it going?
Good.
Good, good.
Not real good.
Oh.
Time for a long side story.
Well, at least we didn't get 8 inches of rain like Floyd County.
Okay, I haven't even paid attention.
Oh, yeah, that would.
You know, and the funny part with it, where they got all that rain, that is where they were showing a huge drought area from there to Waterloo.
Mother Nature has a evil way of averaging herself out.
During the meeting.
I think it was 1 year ago today that we had the drought.
Huge.
Or some gal on the news today was saying, I call it Gone with the Wind.
No, there, yeah, really.
We were camping.
It was huge, wasn't it, Susan? The beetle.
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah, no, that was a
And
killer.
me, I
deal.
was over in the corner and it was over there.
It's just a good thing Terry beat me to it, otherwise I'd have been like,
I have a dent in
Did
the
it
bottom of
land-
my shoe. It was
It
that
landed on
big.
your head or where did it land?
I
It
think
was
I've got
just,
some
like,
workman's
crawling
comp
at
coming
me.
on that.
I would have been like
Go try it.
Igor in that one Frankenstein movie where he picks up the beetle.
Sorry.
You should have seen Kevin's face out there. He's like,
Oh, that thing was, that was an attack beetle. I think it was coming for you. It was
It
saber-toothed.
made for good YouTube.
Yeah, it was saber-toothed.
I don't know if the camera could see the beetle. I was under the table, so
Yeah.
probably came out of that little crack in the rubber.
We might have some,
No.
might have some PETA people coming.
So you have nothing for drainage then?
No. Well, that's good.
Yep.
I like that.
Any
We
other,
were totally talking to the DA
any other
too,
beetle
so-
news? I mean drainage?
Let us-
No, not that I can think of.
I forgot to bring in that name of that other trapper to you after, and I will do that.
Sounds good. Just to update you on drainage at the law enforcement center, which really has nothing to do with you, but I did finally get Matt and Adam out there to look at it. And it's not gonna be right away, but they'll get to it. And they thought we'd be better off just putting perforated 12-inch in all the way up around the building and then go
Mhm.
with smaller from there, then you know, because it doesn't cost that much more to go from 10 to 12. And then we were looking at it, I guess there was a report of, you know, the segment where all the cells are, it's bigger, wider than everything, and then the administrative part of it. So anyway, that northwest corner of the cells is where the work release area is, that we actually amended at the end to increase the size. And the finished part, that actually is starting to crack. So we discussed it, and they want to bring tile into all of those too, and actually around the corner to the easternmost downspout right there in the corner. So there'll be the
That should
three
have
on the,
been engineered from day one.
yeah.
That's just
So,
ridiculous,
so then there'll just be pads on the two to the west of that, like by the chief deputy and the sheriff's offices. Those two will just have pads, because there's plenty of slope away there.
But would it keep it cleaner if it was just tile? They were gonna be right.
Yeah, but it's a little tougher to get the tile there. Yeah, there's plenty of slope there on that. I think you'll be okay with just those pads on those two areas.
So is there
And
any,
it was suggested behind the generator, because there's probably telecommunications and
Lines
electrical
going in
line
there.
to the generator, that they don't want to go through there. They're better off capping the gutter in the west part of it and just have two outlets out here. I mean, it's not that long of a gutter, and it's big. As long as you have two outlets on the far end,
yeah,
you're
they
okay.
need to just get that away from
And
that
Kevin was
corner.
gonna do that. Kevin's gonna cap that one, move it out, and
Or
then he doesn't have to deal
Or can
with
they
that.
just fill that whole area in with cement?
You said if they ever had to do maintenance.
Well, of course,
they
this
do
will be the
that, so.
cracks there,
Anyways,
So our Kevin is gonna do that? No.
yeah, he's gonna get up there and just take the pipe off, patch it in, and move it out over here. It's not that big.
you know.
So is there anything has nothing been done in the meantime? It's just putting a.
Oh, he put tile there to
He
get
did.
it out.
Oh, good.
He's just got, black tile going out as a downspout.
I talked to
That
the
sounds like a plan.
guy that runs the jail in Blue Earth. And they built a new jail here a few years ago.
Was that an inside job? You were there, or?
Well, no, he's actually married to one of the Scogan girls. So I actually didn't see him in an official capacity. But he did invite me to come up and see the jail.
Yeah.
And look at they have the same issue we've got.
Oh, really?
We both were wondering why, when you put those slabs together, why you don't tie them when you got a 90-degree corner or whatever. And, but they have the same issues with wide gaps where they've had to fill them in.
And I kind of wonder sometimes, this being a dry year, did this affect it, And we do have downspout problems, but I've seen housing that shifts because of dry.
How long before the building was erected did they let the ground sit to, because that's something I think is
It was
really
all
important.
packed in.
I know, but it
mechanically.
needs to go over a winter in our,
Oh, no, you wouldn't have done that, no. No,
that's why I had the,
With proper
That-
compaction,
yeah.
you shouldn't have, when you're that deep with the footings and you have proper compaction, it shouldn't be that.
but it's amazing what Mother Nature can actually do and make it better.
But like down in Dallas County, I know there was an issue, they had a dry year and it just shifted everything, so. So no more drainage,
All right, thanks, Chris.
so. All right, so we'll move on, any more open forum?
Yeah. Did I give you the, yeah.
That smells.
Yeah,
Did something just jump out of it?
Stop it.
Especially when you got open toe shoes, oh, that they come
I
right up there.
hate-
Can you imagine that crawling right up that
I
butt?
hate bugs so much.
Boy, I was at the vet clinic.
They're very nutritious.
Vet clinic had their open house the other day
Ugh.
for their clinic down there.
Oh, good?
Yeah,
Oh, I would have liked to
Saturday.
have gone to that.
it was great. The dean of the veterinary college at Iowa State was there to speak. And Beth got that lined up. And anyway, there was a lot of people there. I mean, they only printed 100 brochures for the program, or the programs, and yeah, they were only giving one for 2 people, and they were out early. That's a fantastic facility out there. Hoping to attract more doctors.
How many are they gonna look for eventually?
Well, you know, Gene's retirement age, so
Yeah?
they're looking for 1 right now, you know, to make it 3, and then I suppose when he retires, then
Mhm.
they'll be looking for a replacement. It'll be a while till he completely retires.
Almost all of those are hers.
Huh?
Almost all of them are in her district.
They had to fix my little Ollie the other day at the vet clinic.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he broke his little leg.
Oh.
So they put a little cast on him.
Oh, look at that.
And
How'd he break his leg?
Well, my parents' friend is really dumb.
Oh.
Let his big dog out of the car without a leash on, and he jumped on poor little Ollie,
Oh.
broke his little leg.
Shoot.
Is that right?
That was probably $700.
So you were one of the last customers out at the old one, maybe?
Well, we were last Monday, I guess.
Friday was the last day open, I think. Or no,
Huh.
no, they started moving on
Were
Friday.
they handing out magnets to everybody too? I like
Yeah.
it. That
You
was
can
kinda
still get
good.
one of those.
I have, they gave me one when I
They're
was
open
there.
today for the first day,
Oh, really?
so they're open now.
You're so lucky to have them.
The
Yes,
unique,
they're so good.
so the unique story for the day was they actually had an adoptive, or there's actually, I can't say it's, you can adopt it, but there was a dark gray kitten in a cage that showed up on Wednesday.
Oh.
Just showed up at the clinic, the new
Hmm.
clinic.
Hmm.
So they put it in the cage, called it Niram, and then underneath it says Walter. Because Niram, the Niram name came from, that's the development area. The guy that owned it before was Niram.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they called
Mm.
it Walter Niram.
That's cute.
And it was, this cat was so friendly.
Hmm.
Nobody claimed it.
Hmm.
It might just stay there, I don't know. They used to have a cat at the old.
Oh, they did? They're so good. We're so lucky to have
Not
them
recently,
in the
but they
county.
did. So, anything else for the good of the cause?
And I think we've done enough damage for one day.
So
Stand
too.
adjourned.
Thanks, everybody. Wow.
So what did we do today? Oh, we created 2 full-time positions.
Yeah.